Call this meeting to order. On the invocation, Reverend Bell.
Friends, it's an honor to be here with you. I invite you to bow your head as we go to God in prayer. Gracious God, we give you thanks for the opportunity to gather here today. We give you thanks for the ways that you have already been at work in this community and the ways that you are at work now, God. We remember the words of your prophet Micah today of what is required of us to do justice, to love mercy, and to walk humbly with you. Lord, be with us as we seek to fulfill those words, God. We give you thanks for the members of this city council and the city staff. Lord, grant them wisdom in this meeting. Grant all of us wisdom and grace for one another as we seek what is best for this city and community. Lord, continue to bless us. All these things we pray in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Reverend Bell. Moving into the reading of the minutes. Do we have a motion to, do we have any updates to the minutes, or do we have a motion to adopt them as put forward?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed by like sign. So adopted. Appointment to the Christmas Commission.
Actually, all three of mine need to go on the next agenda, please.
Okay, so that is the Christmas Commission, the Development
Ethics.
Authority, and the Ethics Commission.
That's correct.
All right. For the Convention Center Authority appointment, Mr. Kritko?
I would like to appoint Miss Melanie Tomlinson.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed by like sign? That carries. Then we have the Housing Authority. Our Citizen of the Year, Jess Barron, is being renamed to the Housing Authority as will remain the chair of that board. So congratulations to Mr. Barron. It's also worth noting that the Housing Authority, to stay in HUD compliance, will be adding 2 members, 1 resident, 1 non-resident, to their board. That is in the process of happening right now, and will be coming up here shortly. Then the Development Authority presentation of the UGA College of Environment and Design Temple Avenue project.
Good afternoon, council members. I'm Park Savory. I'm the chairman of the Newnan Development Authority. You may or may not know you have 2 development authorities. The first one is the Downtown Development Authority, which takes care of the 9-block area around the Court Square. And the Newnan Development Authority is everything else outside of that area. So I wanted to give you a little update on some of our things that we're trying to do here in the city. First of all, we continued this last year our sponsorship of the teachers embedded in our manufacturing plants over the summer. We give them a stipend to work for a week over the summer, not a year, a week, to develop a curriculum about science and math and go back to their students and explain to them what employment opportunities are in our community and the importance of those informations. The next slide, if I get this right. These are the group that is currently serving on our Development Authority. All of these folks are nominated by you as the council to serve terms. I would also like to say that we're ably assisted by Assistant City Manager Haskell Craver, who helps us with our work amiably. The one I wanted to talk to you about today is our corridor project. A couple of years ago, we decided that helping redevelop our corridors coming into our downtown was a really worthy goal and much needed. The first project we took was Temple Avenue. We reached out to several of the universities around the state and made a great contact with the University of Georgia in Athens and the School of Environmental Design. And last year they went through Temple Avenue and made some studies of it and how can we do making more streets vibrant, driving economic growth, et cetera, helping with safety. So this is the target area, and I would just say that these maps are like that big, okay? So if you would like to look at these in any sort of detail, Haskell has them in his office. The whole idea is to try and put mixed use also. Temple Avenue seems to be a barrier between the neighborhoods on the south side and the neighborhoods on the north side. And some of the students were saying, how can we bridge that gap there? So here are some of the findings and some of the work that they did in the class. Haskell was wonderful enough to drive up to Athens when they made these presentations at their graduation. So the major themes that the students came up with, this wasn't from us, is to consider how to connect the neighborhoods on the north and south sides of Temple Avenue, add residential to drive commercial, to bring buildings closer to the roadway to activate pedestrians, integrate link if possible, and consider pocket parks and places to gather. So the students said, you know, none of us like to drive down the road and look at parking lots. So we want to do that. So a lot of treescape, a lot of traffic mitigation where we try and make the traffic go a little bit slower, multi-level, hardscapes, all that kind of stuff. We did actually let them go and look at the property that was the old hospital on Hospital Road as well. They came up with a couple of really interesting ideas of maybe how to use that property. In addition to that, I'll let you go after this, we have started phase 2. So the students, the new students in that curriculum were here on Friday morning. They spent all day Friday with us to start studying Greenville Street, the approach into Greenville Street, into the city. So they're starting on that project now. We fund these students and studies out of our budget, and we're really excited to see what they're going to do. Some of the ideas we've kicked around were, can we sponsor a little meeting, a meet and greet with the owners of these properties on Temple Avenue and show them some of these renderings, you know, what's possible, and help them in any way we can. So I'll entertain any questions if you have any. Otherwise,
I do.
yes, ma'am.
Will these, can we get printed copies of these staff members? Because I just want to
Certainly,
look at them
yeah,
a lot
absolutely.
closer.
Just remember they're that big.
Yeah, I
When
remember.
when they print them down, but Haskell can do that for you. He's got all those files. It's extensive, and they're beautiful. These kids did a great job. They went a little wild a couple of times. I'll just say that, but they're young. You know, we didn't give them an economic activity. Any other questions?
No budget.
Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Much appreciated. Very, very cool project. Moving from there into reports on operations by the city manager.
I don't have anything today, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
All right, reports and communications from the mayor. I also don't have anything. I do have one quick programming note that might be easiest to put here. If you're here for the First Avenue project, we've had a request that be deferred, and we'll be dealing with that later in the meeting, but just wanted to raise that and make sure that you knew that in case you were waiting to hear about that issue. But moving into new business, item H, consideration of traffic study report for Newnan Link Section 13.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor Shepherd, members of the council. As you can see on the graphic above, what we've done is broken down this link section 13 by parcel. So parcel 1 being the Board of Education, Newnan High School. Parcel 2 and 3 are both Newnan Utilities, we'll call them that. As part of this link project, as we neared the end of the design, we had asked our project consultants, the Path Foundation and Kaizen, to engage a traffic engineering consultant to look at the need for stop conditions along Sewell Road. Very specifically, if we're going to put pedestrians or people on bicycles or runners or whomever on that facility, is there a need to have a stop condition, a stop sign, traffic signal, whatever that may be? The study's in your information, but as a result, staff is recommending that we install an all-way stop condition at Spence Avenue and Sewell Road. So in your mind's eye, that's directly across the street from Newnan Utilities' main office. The study also looked at the potential installation of an all-way stop condition at Armory Road and Sewell, so at the bottom of the hill, if you can get in your mind's eye. Staff is not recommending that, simply based upon our conversations with the Coweta County school system and the current use of our school resource officer. He is able to, during the peak hours, manage the volume, in their opinion, better than a stop sign would. And so as we're working with the school system to realize this project, we're going to honor that, and we don't disagree with that assertion. I saw as I was talking about it, our consultant, Mr. Vern Wilburn, walked in, and he can maybe speak more intelligently about that if in fact that's needed. However, while we're not recommending an all-way stop condition in a signalized intersection or stop sign, we are recommending what we call an RRFB, so rectangular rapid flashing beacon, which is similar to other places in the city, at that Sewell Road and Armory Road. Again, we're recommending with your approval that we install an all-way stop condition at Spence and Sewell to allow for pedestrians to move through that area, but not a stop condition at Armory and Sewell. And I'll back up and answer any questions you may have.
I got a couple of questions.
Yes, ma'am.
Just so that I understand what the difference here is that you're saying that there's an officer at the end of Sewell and Armory?
Yes, ma'am. During the peak times when student arrival and student departure are kind of the most peak critical times. And currently, one of our school resource officers that works here on campus does a very good job of keeping the traffic stopping and flowing. You know, when school's not in session, the volumes aren't really there. And so the school system's ask of us was they actually prefer it the way it is now, as
Okay.
opposed to having a stop condition all the time.
Okay, so who made the recommendation that we actually do that?
That there
That
is
we
a stop or
that we
not
do
a
Put a
stop.
stop in there. Who made
It-
that recommendation?
Mr. Wilburn, do you want to come up and talk to that? The traffic consultant that was hired recommended that could be a stop condition as well as the other.
Okay. So I'd like to hear what he has to say about that.
Yeah, I'm Vern Wilburn. I reside at 1864 Lower Fayetteville Road. Yeah, we did a study, and we projected volumes of usage for bicycles and pedestrians that would be crossing based on some data that we collected on the existing trail down on Newnan Crossing Boulevard, where the trail turns and goes through the woods there. And based on the usage at that location, there's warrants for installing a multi-way stop that is in the, what we call the MUTCD, Manual on Uniform Traffic Control Devices. And there's several ways you could warrant one, but one of them is volumes, probably the most important one. Safety is another one, but safety is a little bit difficult to project unless you're looking at existing conditions. But with those projected volumes, you're right at the borderline. Honestly, I could have gone either way, but I kind of thought that it should be a multi-way stop just because of the anticipation of the safety concerns that might occur later, especially if you had younger users crossing the road at that point. And the thing, I'm a bicyclist myself, and the thing that kind of bothered me about it is you would have people coming down on bicycles, crossing the road, and then turning and coming from both directions and turning there. And especially younger users may not always be paying attention to the approaching traffic, and you know, it wouldn't be that much of delay for the motorist to stop for an all-way condition. So I'm not here to quarrel with any of the recommendations. Like I said, I could have gone either way, but I kind of went that way on the basis of what I thought could be a safety issue in the future. And one
Okay.
other thing I might point out to you, there's a little bit of a sight distance issue there because of the horizontal and vertical curvature of Sewell Road at that location. And there's also some vegetation. Some of those things can be cleared. And also technically supposed to stop right where that stop sign is. You can see better if you pull on out further. So if you do intend, let me back up and say the rectangular rapid flashing beacons, the RRFB, are fairly well observed. On a national basis, those are about 94-95% effective. In other words, when they start flashing, most people do stop for them. So I think that would be a good way to handle this if you wanted to. But if you do that, you might want to look at that stop sign and maybe do some things like you've done downtown to put a bulb out around that portion of parking, move that stop sign a little bit further out so people can go up there and stop in a position where they can see better.
And that was going to be one of my other questions, because I saw that it crosses not at the intersection itself, but down the street, if this is to be taken at scale and in direct position. So can somebody address that?
Which
for me?
intersection?
The Sewell Road, where
At
the,
Armory or at Spence?
at Armory.
Okay, it's a little
Just the
bit,
one
I
we're
would,
talking
yeah,
about?
it's a little bit, it's closer to the intersection with Armory. It's a little bit more of a perpendicular right there. It's not as you shown on this. This is just a graphic interpretation, kind of give you an idea of the length location. It comes more at a direct angle across the street.
Okay. Okay, so if it's going to be at the intersection, then that makes a difference to my thoughts on this. To have the flashing beacon, because that would be a space where, because I mean, anybody that's been down there knows that school buses parked and people double
ma'am.
park, all kinds of stuff, and that just seems very dangerous to me to not have it at the intersection. And then the other thing that I was thinking about was there's nothing stopping a police officer from going out there and directing traffic no matter what's happening at the intersection, because that happens all the time. So, yeah, I mean, that happens all the time. So,
I would point out the device that they're recommending is not just a flashing beacon. In other words, it doesn't just flash all the time. It sits there dark unless somebody pushes the button.
Yeah.
I assume
Yeah,
you'd have it activated. And so it normally wouldn't be doing anything.
Yeah, we
And
have those at
incidentally,
the
those
other-
are more effective. If they flash all the time, people just tend to ignore them.
yeah, we have those at the other intersections, is the flashing beacon that turns on. And then my last question on this is, I see it ends at Spence. I know there's been conversation, but I never got a conclusion as to what our intentions are, because one of the things that we talked about, and I know Mr. Thomason brought this up years ago, was having the link actually get close to our lakes so that people can enjoy that as an amenity. So I wanted to know if we had considered that as part of extending the project out to, or creating some sort of pathway down to the lake.
Not under this project, no, ma'am.
Not under this
Not under
project.
Section 13. No, Section 13, which you see here, was council approved previously, and we went out to design with this. This design here does not interact further. Now, the master plan shows future continuation out to, kind of, if you look at that kind of photograph to the right, to the main lake, but no, Section 13 is just, the limits of it are shown there.
Okay.
I've got, are you done, Councilwoman? I'm glad you, Councilwoman Jenkins, I'm glad you brought that up. I'm thinking the same thing on this Army Road. I think that, my vote would be we go for pedestrian safety first, and then we accommodate motorists second. Was it Robinson Road? Roberts Road, which one?
Roberts Road.
Roberts Road. Similar, right? The flashing beacon. And what happens is, and that's a 25 mile an hour, and I want everybody to go home and just drive 25 miles an hour for just a short period of time, and you're going to be, it's going to be painful. All right, so no one
welcome to
drives
Summer
25 miles
Grove.
an hour, okay? I mean, you may think you are, but you're not. And so Sewell Road is a racetrack. You have no reason to slow down. When you get to the top, if you're going to go to the utilities maybe, when you get to the bottom. So you're not even thinking stopping ever. And so what that concerns me is that we just have the flashing beacon. People are going to see it, and they're going so fast, they don't have time to stop. So I would be in favor of the three-way stop with stop signs.
I agree.
If I could, just kind of ask a question on that, and this would be something that might go into your purview, is if you put a three-way stop in there with a rectangular flashing thing, could you back up 500 feet, put another flash, like a pre-flash, and some rumble strips, so you see, just kind of, it's a warning, like a pre-warning, hey, somebody's pushed it down here, so it's going to blink both at the same time. Somebody's in the intersection. Would that make sense? And
Like I said before, if you put a flashing beacon up that flashes all the time, after a while, it's pretty ineffective.
well, I'm not saying all the time, just only when activated.
Oh, so what you're asking is in conjunction with the RFB?
Correct.
Is
Like
you
put another
want
RFB.
Another advanced device
Correct.
somewhere? It's not typical, but yeah, it might help. But like I said before, even without those, these devices are fairly effective. And the rumble strips, they do cause people to slow down. It catches your attention if you're driving along inattentive and you run over those things and you ask yourself, what's that all about?
I think your neighbors are going to have a hard time with that, though.
Mr.
You live in
Phillips.
that
I
neighborhood.
have a question I'd like to address to Mr. Wildern. If we go to a three-way stop, is it still permissible to put the RFB with the three-way stop, or the RFB is only placed when it's not a three-way stop? That's right. Can you have both? That's what I was wanting to clarify.
I'm not aware of anything in the METCD that would prevent you from doing that.
Okay.
There are some things about other devices.
I just want to make certain council understood that if the preference is for both the stop and the flashing beacon.
Yeah.
And if there was any benefits to maybe a different crosswalk element, where that crosswalk may be a different color, that crosswalk may be a brick, may be raised, or may be something. Are there any advantages for pedestrian safety for doing such as that?
As I remember, let's say you wanted to have the crosswalk be just slightly offset from the intersection. It would have to be separated by a distance of more than 300 feet. I think that's right. But if you do put the device at that intersection, as far as I remember from everything in there, I didn't research that today, but that's what I remember.
Any questions?
I have a quick question. Is that, I'm just ingrained to drive 25 miles an hour when I get to the bottom of this hill, just being around that school so much. But I just can't remember, is that during school hours only, or is it 35, it kind of descends in the stated signage, but then I always just end up at 25 when I enter the school zone. So is it 35 outside of operating school hours, or is it stated 25 miles an hour all the time?
In Sewell, I believe the speed limit is 35 at that location, and I think it goes up to 45.
At the top of the hill. Right.
Yeah.
But as you're descending, heading west down Sewell, and you're 45, then you're 35, is it 35 all the way to the stop sign with Cougar Way and only drops to 25 during school hours?
I'll answer that for you. We had a discussion today. Our school zones are designated by ordinance, and there is not a school zone designated on Sewell Road. So what we have are school warning signs that you're approaching the school, but the speed limit remains 35 all the way to Cougar Way.
So does it, I mean, human nature, a downhill approach, that's a long way to ride your brakes down that hill because gravity's taking effect inertia, your vehicle's trying to speed up, and you're trying to keep it from speeding up. And human nature, like you said, 25 miles an hour down that hill is a long time conceptually for people. So I didn't know, in the modeling, does it change things if we reduce, it's a mandated 25 miles an hour somewhere further up to the east of this intersection to reduce that speed? And then does that modeling make the blinking lights more palatable in a different speed setting?
There's nothing in any of the warrants that would allow you to handle that objectively. You know, maybe subjectively, like I said before, you know, I kind of leaned in the direction of a multi-way stop. But that's a subjective thing, you know, I can't put numbers on it. So, yeah, you're right. People do tend to go faster when you're going downhill. I mean, it just happens, and I've done a lot of speed studies myself where I'm out there with a radar, and I can tell you it does happen. But to tell you how much it happens or put a number on it, I couldn't do that right now.
So, council, if I may bring us back, the logic behind the recommendation was, as you heard Mr. Wilburn say, is that it was right on the edge, right? Does it warrant an all-way stop condition or not? He said it was on the edge. And then our partnership with the school system, and they're discussing there. I think Mr. Phillips also hit on a couple items. There are myriad ways in which we can address traffic to create pedestrian safety. You can have, if you see lights embedded in the roadway. So when you push the button, not only does the RRFB light, the roadway lights, you can have advanced signing. There are myriad ways in which you can handle this, or you could do an all-way stop. This is just a recommendation to you guys, you know, based upon our opinions and looking at some of the data and understanding users and in partnership with the school system. But whatever this body decides is what we will put into play.
Mr. Kirby, you're looking for a motion today on this to move
Yes,
forward?
sir.
Okay.
Yes, this project's out to bid, and we would like to have an answer on this.
All right. I'd like to make a motion that we adopt this report with the change being an always stop at Armory Road and Sewell Road.
Second.
Any further discussion?
What, could you say that motion, because it sounded like you were accepting the report and making a motion, like
We-
two.
And I would accept this report, but change to an always stop at Army Road and Sewell Road
Okay, so just accepting the report with the change.
with the change.
Any further discussion on that motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? And with that, the motion carries.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
I have one thing not related to the motion, but I would like to bring this up. Mr. Phillips, the section that goes into new utilities, Carmelo Park, we had talked a while back about the opportunity to ask new utilities to reimburse us or participate in that cost. You got any thoughts on that? Is that still a possibility?
Mr. Craver had the project designers to break down the estimated cost for the section that is within inside the limits of Carl Miller Park. So we have some information that we could present, but we felt like it would probably be best for this body to authorize staff to present and have those discussions. Because ultimately, it'll be an agreement between city council and Water and Light Board. But if you'd like and authorize us to go approach them, we would certainly see if we could come up with a number that's agreeable to the parties and bring it back.
Excellent. Well, I'm happy to ask for council support in directing staff to come back to us with a number to approach the utilities for.
Councilman
Yep.
Thomason, the estimated cost for the portion of trail facilities included in Carl Miller is $344,000, some change.
All right. Yep, go ahead.
Clarifying question on that. Is that just Carl Miller Park?
Yes,
Or
ma'am.
is that the entirety of the utilities link?
No, ma'am, just Carl Miller Park. I can get you the other number. If you'd like it, go talk, give me a minute.
Because the vast majority of this goes through their land in some way or another, even if it's just
Okay,
outside of the
through
park.
that, yeah.
I think regardless of that cost, we can move forward with the motion unless there's further discussion on the question.
Well, I might change it, Mayor Shepherd, to a number in my motion if we have it.
To the entirety?
You know, just go and
Yeah.
direct them to ask for a number.
Well, yeah, sorry, I didn't think you had made a motion. So if you want to make a motion that, that we ask for a number, for staff to go with a number for the entirety, that'd be,
If we have it, yeah, I'm happy to do that, yeah.
yeah.
I'm just telling you.
So,
Quick math, based upon the estimated cost to deliver is $2,058,000 for the balance. Remember, there are 3 parcels involved in this. We have,
that's more different than I thought.
yeah,
So the section going,
definitely
that
support
we
that
would call the new utilities, Carl Miller Park, you think
Yes,
that's
sir.
the
Yes.
sub 400 number?
yes, sir.
Not
Yeah,
a
that's
sub-
all at grade trail.
Not a
The
750,
balance
okay.
is bridges and lots of, there's some structural work and things there.
Okay. I'd like to go ahead and yes, go ahead.
Might I ask you to consider allowing staff to go to new utilities and have a much more free-form conversation than to put a number to it? Because
Perfect.
they might be willing to meet us.
I'm happy to do that. Yes. All right. So I make a motion, we direct staff to interact with new utilities about the possibility of them reimbursing us for the section of the trail that runs near and through Carmiller Park.
Just that part, or do we want to do that for all of the land?
Just that part.
Okay,
Yep.
okay. Any further discussion?
Well, I have a question, kind of past practice. We're making motions for just a directing staff. Can't we
Correct.
just direct staff directly without having to pass a motion to do this?
Well, I would be more comfortable if we did have a motion, just for good order of the meeting.
Okay.
So is there any further discussion on that, giving that direction to staff? Seeing none, and all in favor? Aye. All opposed? With that, staff is so directed.
Alrighty.
All right, moving into unfinished business. Item I, consideration of the contract award for Farmer Street Cemetery Improvements, Phase 1.
Yes, Mayor Shepherd, members of the council, I'm here recommending that the city council consider engaging Piedmont Paving, Inc., based out of Newnan, Georgia, for construction of Phase 1 improvements to the Farmer Street Cemetery project. There are a lot of members in our community who I want to call out and say thank you to. The African American Alliance, I think some of their members are here. The Farmer Street Cemetery Commission, some of their members may be here too. But this has been work since the council reinstated the Farmer Street Cemetery Commission in 2020. It's been deliberate. It's been inclusive of the community. And the community's been part of this from the beginning. You guys, as a collective body, have been part of this. And so, as a professional, it's a neat and proud moment for me to be able to bring this forward to you. What you see on the slide up there is the GPR survey done a few years ago by Paleo West to identify 455 potential burial signatures. The design was based off that. Ms. Shea, if you go to the next slide, please. And that's the design that this council saw and voted on and supported. We thereafter went out and secured full design drawings, put those out to bid, had 2 proposals from qualified firms. The names of those firms are located in your packet. And again, we're recommending that we engage Piedmont Paving, Inc. In an amount of $777,935.91 to perform those activities kind of shown in the blue shaded area up there. And I can answer any questions you may have.
I do. I've got a question. In this entirety, we've talked about practices of not just, going in and treating it like
Yes,
a
ma'am.
project. We're talking about carefully handling this such that we don't disturb any of the burial sites. And so we've got a few dots on here that are in the blue area. If you were to overlap them, and I want to know what precautions are going to be.
Yeah, and so that's a great question. So as shown in your packet, we engaged New South and Associates to come out and did some sensitive archaeological work as a consultant. And they, along with some of our staff, they actually led the staff through the exercise. They actually investigated all 3 of those anomalies and found no signature of remains. In fact, one of the locations ended up being abandoned utility. There was a water line in there. And then the other 2 were just organics that didn't show any kind of signature of or indication of a burial site. So that was done prior to this contract being let.
Okay. And then my next question.
And that, if I may, I'm sorry, we would continue with New South and Associates kind of as a consultant on this project at a time in which any ground disturbing activities would take place. They would be on site with the contractor to make sure that if anything was found along the way, that it was handled appropriately.
Okay. And just for clarity, because we have had an issue at this particular site before about having construction materials and things like that in inappropriate places. So I want to make sure that we are considering that as we ramp up for this, is that the general conditions that are met during construction, even though the construction site is in that we don't have, trucks and, all the things like toilets and stuff like that set up in places outside of this blue area.
Noted, yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
I'd like to make a motion that we award the contract to Piedmont Paving in the amount of $777,935.91.
Second.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion so carries. With that, we move into item J, consideration of an ordinance to amend Chapter 3 alcoholic beverages by deleting Section 3-67 growlers, adding a new Section 3-67 specialty beer and wine shop.
Yeah, Mayor, Council. You may recall in December, council was approached by a local business owner with the request to draft an ordinance that would allow a specialty wine shop. Council authorized staff to proceed. In the process of developing the ordinance, we received some input and some questions. First of all, asking the difference between this particular license and the growler section, with comments being made that can't they just obtain a growler license in order to serve the wine? Well, the growler provision did not actually allow the on-site consumption of wine. So that was one issue that we wanted to try to address. The second issue that we wanted to address is we were getting feedback from our restaurant, some of our restaurant owners, asking for restrictions on the amount that can be consumed by a person in one day, since there wasn't the provision of 50+% food, to try to create some type of equal playing field between a specialty wine shop and a restaurant. So what we ended up doing is we are recommending that we replace the growler section with a license that's called a beer and wine specialty store. With inside of that particular ordinance, it still permits the serving of the growlers as is, so there is no change to what would be happening at our current licensed location for a growler. It just kind of clears up everything that we heard during the process. The ordinance is in front of you for consideration. I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
I have a quick question. This ordinance, with what was presented at our last meeting, that wine club, this isn't going to have any impact on that at all?
No, this was different. That particular request was about the layering of a package and a retail together, so it is different.
Okay, thank you.
That's correct.
I have a question. What, as I read this and understand it, what keeps any merchant downtown, no matter what they sell, for buying a $1,500 license and just, I'm going to dumb this down, just pack some coolers behind the register and just sell beer and wine as you're shopping for whatever you're shopping for?
Well, number one, they just can't package a cooler. Anyone who holds a license in the state of Georgia has to go through the authorized distributors to actually purchase. They cannot go to your Kroger or convenience store or to the refrigerator and sell, so there are regulations behind that. Basically, this would allow any type of retail business to actually pay the $1,500 and apply for this particular license provision. So to answer your question, other than stacking of multiple alcohol licenses, there would be no restriction on this.
So I'm just, and this is purely for example.
Correct.
The record store downtown could get a relationship with an alcohol distributor, legally supply themselves with alcohol, and then sell beer and wine with a $1,500 license in the record store.
They could do that now.
They could do that now.
do that now. Yeah, in other words, within the context of our ordinance, any retail operation could get a packaged beer and wine. The only restriction would be on distilled spirits. Now, there are certain distance requirements and other things that you have in place when you're doing package sales. So there could be some impetus there that would prevent someone from getting one.
Could be.
To sell beer and wine by package. But right now, most any place, I mean, it Cooks, for example, where it's located, if they wanted to come in and get a beer and wine license to sell packaged beer, packaged wine, they are not prohibited from doing that. All right, of course, they have to meet state requirements and some other things to be able to do it. So what this does is simply says that if you're one of these packaged things, that you can have limited on-site consumption without having to have 50% food as to the limits that are in the ordinance. So that's essentially what this is doing.
Okay, I'm having trouble finding the specialty part of this. I'm in support of creating this environment and this opportunity. I feel like if you're going to make a specialty beer and wine shop, and you're going to make that level of capital investment to run it, then it should truly be the intent of what it is. And I'm not sure the intent of the execution of potential of this doesn't meet the intent of what we're trying to deliver. So I don't know if there's ability to add an inventory minimum to this to kind of make a true effort at being a specialty shop.
In our research of specialty wine and beer shops in other municipalities, we did find examples that required a certain amount of inventory, different other regulations regarding the inventory, but we also found several examples that were just super simple. Ours has a little bit more regulation than the super simple, but obviously what we presented here today did not get into the requirements of X amount of inventory provisions. It's certainly something we could bring back to this body if you were interested.
If I could ask a follow-on question then. With already having just basically kind of beer and wine growlers, just for lack of a better term, anybody that has already, when we already have a beer license and we have a wine license, they're separate. And right now, I think they both pay $1,500, right? For beer and wine pouring?
If you're just paying the full-on pouring, including distilled spirit, is $2,500. If you only apply for a I don't remember what it is. It's $500, I think. Yeah, I think it is $500 for just beer and wine pouring. That is correct.
For both?
Yeah. Yes, both. Where the $1,500 came from in this particular ordinance, it is this license amount that we currently charge under the growler provision. So that's where that particular number came from.
Okay, because I'm just concerned that we're on parity, we're charging the same thing for the same service and product.
Mr. Phillips, just so that we have some clarity here, could you articulate exactly what changes, like what would someone be able to do under this new ordinance that they can't do today?
The primary thing that they can't do is today would be the on-site consumption. That is the major reasoning behind the ordinance.
And that's of just wine, because currently there is on-site consumption of beer, correct?
There is on-site consumption of beer in the growler ordinance.
Right.
And he currently has a limitation on the amount of beer that he can pour in one day per customer.
Right.
The current growler ordinance does not allow for the pouring and the on-site consumption of wine.
Okay, so then the only difference here would be the on-site
Yes.
consumption of wine.
That is correct.
Right.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
So then, another question then. Since you're here, Mr. Cantor, you sell beer growlers. You've already, when is the business license and the alcohol license due every year for that business?
And Before we go, could you actually approach the podium to answer that question, Mr. Cantor? And just for the record, Mr. Cantor and Mr. Chad Smith as needed, signed up to discuss the alcohol ordinance if needed. But,
So,
Mr. Cantor.
well, so really my question is probably to staff, but you know when your business, your alcohol licenses are due. When are those due?
End of the year, first of the year is when.
Yeah,
everything-
so we've already kind of into the new year.
Yeah.
So if we pass this, and if you wanted to if you wanted to sell wine growlers, since he's already paid it, would we just grandfather him or give him a
I believe in the
waiver
ordinance,
this
the way that
year?
I read it, it was grandfathered in.
What we had planned to do with Mr. Cantor, since he currently has the only growler license in town, we were just going to issue him an updated license for no charge, since he's already paid. That clearly stated he's under the new provision. That was our plan with Mr. Cantor.
Okay, so effectively, we're just getting rid of beer growling and going to the specialty shop. Correct, yep. All right, thank you. Appreciate it, Mr. Cantor.
When do I get to talk?
That was easy.
Should we open this to, are there further questions amongst us or for staff? And then if not, we can open to the two public comments.
So as a point of order, we really can't have, you'd have to, for public comment on this particular thing, we do have to have a vote for public comment on this particular item. It's my understanding per charter. So if you're going to have public comments on this particular item, everybody just can't walk up and just voice their opinion as to this particular, if you're talking about Mr. Smith, would that be safe to say, Ms.?
Per the charter, this is a meeting of the body, and so to allow public comment requires us to allow folks to join our conversation, a vote, per the Roberts Rules and Charter.
So,
Well, then.
Unless he's invited to come up specifically to speak on our,
Well, I believe can the chair recognize? I believe the chair can
technically this
recognize.
isn't public comment, it's a moment to call for clarification from
In
a
that point.
specific owner.
Mr. Cantor, would you please, the
I
chair
understand.
recognizes comments as per your request.
Okay. So talk now,
Yes.
right?
Yeah, you can talk.
Okay, cool. So, a couple things. I don't know that it's important, but I don't understand why a growler license wasn't amended to have a provision to pour wine. I am sold a beer and wine license. Why would I think I couldn't sell or serve wine? Doesn't make a whole lot of sense to change the entire ordinance, to call it something else. Also, if you take a look at liquor stores, there's an inventory minimum and there's a license maximum. There can only be so many liquor stores in Newnan. As this is written and as I understand it, please tell me if I'm wrong, anybody that wants to go pay $1,500 for a license, to include the record store, the gym, whoever, next thing you know, overnight, everybody sells beer and wine, but don't worry, we've only limited it to 32 ounces of beer and 18 ounces of wine. There's nothing stopping everyone from doing that. I've been in business for 12 years. I feel like I've been pretty responsible, trying to take care of things. I just don't understand why we're opening Pandora's box. I have no issue whatsoever with what Chad and his wife want to do. I think it's great. I think it'll be a great addition to downtown. As this is written, though, it just opens a can of worms for anybody and everybody to be able to get a license to serve beer and wine.
And this is a clarifying question for staff. Is it currently the case that, I mean, is that an actual change here, that this would allow for more places to get this kind of license?
Yeah, of course, you have to go back and look at.
And, sorry, Mr. Sears, could you please use your microphone? We can hear you very well. You've got a great voice for us personally, but online it's a little
All
hard
right,
to hear.
so keep in mind, the things that you can do are what the state law says you can do. In Georgia, we have kind of a system where you either sell beer by the package, wine by the bottle to go. You sell distilled spirits by the bottle to go. You cannot serve those in broken packages to go. So theoretically, this is what you get into. A dealer who has a beer sitting in the counter like Kroger, a single beer, if they allow that person to open that beer in the store, they should not ring them up or let them leave. All right, the growler law is a little different. Now, he does sell packaged beer, but what the growler people do is they come in and they have 16 or 18 different kegs that are tapped. And so state law says that you can sell that in a special unbroken package. In other words, these packages, a can of beer comes to the dealer closed. The salesperson can't open that beer and sell it. Now we have the consumption, on-premise consumption, in which they can break the bottles and pour you a drink, but under most circumstances, you can't leave with that drink. Now, I understand there was stuff that went on during COVID, but now there was a change to the wine part. If you buy a bottle of wine and they uncork it, you can have them recork it, and it becomes a closed package, and they put it in a brown paper bag for you to carry out. What the growler law said was, you can have this row of tapped spirits, and you can have a growler bottle. You can take that bottle, fill that bottle up, and the retail institution has to seal the top of that bottle for you to walk out of the store. All right, so there's no change here in that regard. Now, what this ordinance attempts to do is there's also a section that deals with wine tastings in wine shops. So what staff was trying to do in looking at other jurisdictions, there's no change in the growler side. To be a growler, you have to have tapped kegs. You can't open a single can of beer or a six-pack of beer and pour it in a growler and then walk out. It has to come out of the tapped kegs. So for him, there's no change in the growler law. That's what it is here. The only change is under the state, if you follow the strict state, it only allows you to have 3 one-ounce tastings. Now, what this ordinance has done and what some other communities have done is expanded that to allow you to have, what'd you say, 3, 30, 16 ounces or whatever it is. So it's a little more than the 3-ounce taste. But if you want to take any of that beer that's in the kegs out in a big bottle, it still has to be sealed for you to take out. So as he said, you would still have the growler part. All this ordinance is trying to do is expand it to the point of where you can, he sells wine, he wants to be able to pour up to, how many?
18.
18.
That's what's in the ordinance.
Yeah, 18 ounces of wine for you to do in hopes that someone will buy that bottle of wine that they've tasted in there, as opposed to giving just one little 3-ounce shot. So it doesn't change. The growler's still the same. If you buy a package of beer to walk out of there, so he's package and growler. So you can buy that. But if he sells the beer out of the tapped keg, he still has to growl it and put it in the bottle. So the only thing it's doing for him is allowing him to be able to do the wine component. But it is, anybody can do it. Anybody can come get a growler's license downtown anyway. So that part has not changed. Is that?
So I think what I'm trying to get at just very simply is Mr. Cantor seems to have the concern that if we pass this, then more people will be able to get a license than they can currently.
Not
Is
just
that
more,
right?
anyone.
Yeah, anybody, absolutely.
There's nothing special about anyone.
Right, exactly. But the more people than today would be able to get that license, correct?
Correct.
And so my question is that the case under this ordinance? Does that actually change?
And also,
Okay.
coming on the heels of,
Well, in that regard, the only difference is where right now you have to be in the 9-block area. Is that correct? The 9-block area to get a growler's license. What this will do is open it up to any commercially zoned area. So, I mean, somebody in Avery Park could get a growler's license. Right now, Taco Mac could not get a growler's license.
Right.
If you pass this, Taco Mac can get a growler's license.
perfect.
Because they do sell tapped beers. Yeah.
So it seemed, may I ask a question?
Yes.
I'm sorry. It seems to me as though there should be a way that we can limit the number of licenses in the district. Would that be safe to say, just to simplify it, as to, so everybody in there, Tom, Dick, and Harry can't get it? Or is that?
Well, obviously, we did that with the package store regulations. I mean, the approach may be to limit it is to establish a minimum inventory. That's just going to make your investment into the license that much steeper. Would discourage people who really don't want to, be fully in the business. So if we go back and revisit, maybe we can recommend some inventory requirements. I think that would probably.
And my other concern is this is also coming on the heels of, I don't know if it was approved or brought up to be approved, but license approval being handled by staff, not by council. That is not common practice anywhere, and that gives no voice for anyone who is in opposition. That is not standard, that is not common. I don't know of anywhere that exists, and I've been in the liquor business my entire life.
That is not my findings, Mr. Cantor.
I would love to see that.
And that has been approved, that ordinance has been approved to
So coming on the
change.
heels of that,
Right.
something about this doesn't pass the sniff test, and I don't know what it is, but something's not right. Just want to make that.
Yeah, I think the effort here, and, just in the effort of transparency, the concern with the staff doing that, or the effort there was just that the council was getting these in front of us, and we had never shot one down. Because, and there were some questions about what we would have to do to shoot that down if there was somebody who, or to deny that application if they had met all of the requirements and already been approved by staff. So functionally, what we were doing was just holding up people's liquor licenses by 2 weeks or a month or whatever.
But it
And
also
so-
removes the public hearing where someone could say, hey, we've been doing this for X amount of time. I've done nothing wrong. I've paid taxes. I've run a good, clean business. And now 7 stores beside me sell the same thing as me, but I don't have a voice anymore. I don't get a chance to say that. There's no public hearing.
So it would
Mayor.
be safe to say, but if, I'm sorry.
Oh, no,
I'm jumping right
Chair recognized Mr. Young.
According to your analogy, then you could oppose pretty much anything. But what I like the idea of staff doing it. I think if you're concerned about it, and it appears to be some issues here, that I think we do the inventory, and then I think we limit it to the number like we did the liquor stores and call it a day.
I agree with that completely.
Back to the public hearing requirement, I think this is valuable for council to understand. The public hearing requirement, when it was coming before this body, was certainly not intended, and there's no basis for someone just opposing to oppose. The reason for a public hearing was for the opportunity for someone to present information that we did not have that would disqualify that person from being eligible to apply. It wasn't, I don't like it because it's my neighbor. It's the opportunity to present information that would disqualify the person from holding the license. That is a major difference between the reasons there. Thank you.
Might I add
Yes.
that since we've got some ideas about this and we do have something else coming up that we're late for, can we table this until another meeting?
Could I ask a quick question, though, before we do table that? Kind of back to Councilman Burda's original question. After all this discussion, just trying to get clarity on this. So what would be to stop a ladies' specialty shop to have Thursday ladies' wino night from getting their license now or with this license? Again, everybody on the square could get a license and then have a Thursday, Friday, Saturday night, growlers night. And so I understand your position, Mr. Cantor. And so my question is, how do we, at some point, it's just, you go anywhere and everywhere, you get wine. You go to the barber shop, you go to the lady, the clothing shop, you go to the bowling alley, or not, the bowling one is not in the city, but, it is in the city, but you go, anywhere and you get that. So.
And I think that's a lovely question for our tabled session.
And so that's what I'm saying, is it is, but I would like to see that addressed also if we could.
But would you like for staff to do it, instead of just tabling it,
Yes,
to do additional research on,
Yes.
yes. So if someone would make a motion for us to direct staff to do additional research and then to table the motion.
So
So, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right, so tabled with further research requested. Thank you. All right. Visitors, petitions, communications, and complaints. Item K, request from Ansley Murray to close Madison Street between Jackson Street and Jefferson Street for craft and brews markets in 2026.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Yep, second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Seeing none, that passes. And then item L, request from Sandra Strozier, President and CEO of the Newnan Housing Authority, to waive the 2025 pilot payment to the city of Newnan. Ms. Strozier, if you could approach the podium.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to ask one thing. I just received this letter,
Yes.
and so I haven't had time to think about all this. I'd just ask if there's any support to just postpone this for 2 weeks and let me have some time to do my own discernment.
I have
I
one
would
question. Wait a
agree
minute.
with
Very,
that.
very,
I got
very,
one.
very quickly. Can I make one clarifying, can I ask a clarifying question of staff? Would that raise issues around our budgeting process?
we will need a decision by the end of February. End of February is the date that we target to close our 2025 books. The pilot payment is a payment for the prior year, so it would be a 2025 payment. So we would request that there be a decision of this body by minimum next meeting.
Great, I just wanted to have that clarified.
Yeah,
Mr.
that
Gilman.
was my question.
Yeah, I would, I agree with Councilman Thomason. I just received the letter late, had no idea that, what it was, and just had really had to do a short deep dive with staff as to the whys and history, et cetera, as to this program. So I agree with Mr. Thomason that we postpone this.
Is that a good second for a motion?
So I'm sorry, did you make a motion?
I'll make a formal one. I make a motion that we postpone item L to the next council meeting.
Second.
Hearing all seconds. Any further
Yeah,
discussion?
well, I have a question. Well, I know that we have a motion here, but while we have Ms. Strozier here, could we just hear verbally from her also if there's anything in addition to the letter?
Well, I was told that I don't brag enough, so if you'd indulge me, can I brag just a little?
You are so indulged.
All right.
But we have a, excuse me, just a point.
oh, do
We
you
have a
have time?
motion and a second,
Oh.
so now it goes into council discussion only. But
I was just asking, just so we have more information to be able to take time to digest this and just.
So-
I would take this as a point of information from Mr. Kritko, but if there's an objection there, we can.
Okay, I don't want to prolong. I think you have something else to do. I'll brag next time.
Okay. Thank you so much, Ms. Strozier. Hearing any further discussion?
So Ms. Strozier, you will be here at the next meeting then to be able to answer questions and discuss this further? Ms. Strozier, I'm sorry. You'll be able to be here at the next meeting? Thank you, appreciate it.
So any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion is so moved. We have the off-agenda items. Do we have those for the? Yes. Ms. Griffiths, we have an off-agenda item that was put forward in a letter here. If the chair recognizes Ms. Griffiths.
Yes, thank you very much. Melissa Griffiths, 32 South Court Square, Newnan, Georgia, 30263. I'm here today on behalf of Imperium Development LLC. They are on your work session today and on the council meeting for 2 weeks from now. We came to Planning Commission less than a month ago and then got some additional comments from city staff engineer wanting us to include some additional intersections and roadways in our traffic study. And we have not had time to get that completed in time for today's work session and then a vote in February. So we are asking for you all to table us from today's work session and February meeting and push us to March. We had to request now because you don't take official action in your work session. And so we're simply asking for more time to be able to get that information back to the city engineer. And so then we can present appropriately. There were also many neighbors that had concerns about the traffic counts and issues that were taken. And so we're trying to address all of those and continue meetings and discussions with those in the neighborhood regarding some of their concerns as well. So we're simply asking for time to be able to do that.
That's item B on the work session agenda?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Mayor, do you need a motion for that? I move that we allow applicant to, excuse me, Mr.
Yes,
Sears.
and could I add to the motion that the expense to re-advertise for the March meeting, that the applicant pay for that?
Certainly, we offered to do that in our letter. We're happy to do that. I'll
Excellent.
get with staff on those costs, certainly.
Okay, I move that we allow applicant to move their request to the March meeting, and the applicant be responsible for any fees associated with that.
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none, that is so moved.
Thank you.
All right. With that, do we have any further off-agenda items?
Yep, you do.
Okay, where was?
That's it.
Sorry, can I see your sheet real quick? We had an item from, we don't need his. Ms. Zimmerman, you had an off-agenda item to raise? The chair recognizes Ms. Zimmerman for that item. Oh, come forward, please. Yeah.
Good afternoon. Hi.
And please say your name for the record.
Oh, my name is Flor Zimmerman. I am a business owner in the city of Newnan. My husband, his name is Scott Zimmerman. He's a veteran, military, and we have invested over $1 million in, in Newnan or in my building, located between Sprayberry Road and Jefferson Street. We have a 5,900 square feet building, and right now it will be compromised because they're going to close Sprayberry Road and they're going to create dead end. And with a little stress because one, our frontage, that is 150 square feet, it will be, for no use, just to a dead end. And then it will be changed for.
Excuse me, just once, would you mind leaning into that microphone and staying in front of the microphone, pulling the microphone too, because it's very difficult to hear.
Excuse me,
Thank you.
sir. So we are, we have a corner building that is 100 feet on Sprayberry Road and 114 on the Jefferson Street. And we have landscaping, so it's all covered by 50%. So I will have, if you close Sprayberry Road, I'm going to have a 50-foot frontage road. So all our investments that we have made in the city of Newnan will be compromised, and probably we're going to lose value at least 70%, I cannot really, I'm not an appraisal, but it's going to lose value on our property. We have invested so much in 18 years, with my husband's money. He's a veteran of the United States. He's a retired pilot. All the money that he had in his checking account, I use it. And I put it in this building, in this, I'm a business owner. Probably, business owners, sometimes we consider dreamers. We put so much money into something that probably we're going to lose, one day. But we invested so much money, years and years, in making, and not only that, but I brought my sister, and right now she has a business called DUI, School of Caweta, INC. And then I brought my another brother who has invested there. We, as a family, invested so much in that area. And she has a DUI School of Caweta, and she brings a lot of people who had addiction problems like alcohol or mental problems, and she's doing great, thanks God. But if we're gonna have a dead end road and a Sprayberry Road, it will bring crime.
So, Ms. Zimmerman, just in the interest of time, and I hear
Yes.
your issue with that, could we perhaps direct staff to send us the information about the ongoing road work there, just so that the council has time to
Yes.
has the opportunity to better understand
Yes,
this
I'm sorry,
intersection,
my
this road
English
work?
is a little bad.
No,
I'm
no, no,
so
totally
sorry.
fine. I just wanted to,
Yes.
make sure that we knew what
Yes.
you were talking about.
Yes,
To discuss further in the future. So could we get a motion to direct staff to just circulate information on this and give
So
us a better
moved.
understanding?
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right, thank you so much. Staff, please circulate us that information. We're going to have staff give us further information on the project over there so that we know what's going on and what the options are there.
Yes.
And I will be in contact with you to make sure that you know
Can I
what's going
just
on.
make a last comment, please? Please?
Yes, absolutely, yeah.
Sir, Mr. Chairman, a dead end, how I know about a dead end, one day I got lost when as I started driving for the first time. I got lost in a dead end, and I didn't know that it was a dead end. And I just remember that I had 4 guys after me. You know, it was really bad. It was like a crime point. And, you know, that's all that I remember about a dead end, you know, 4 men following me. It was like a trap. So I'm really concerned that, you know, that this, no, it's not only going to affect me, but it's going to affect the city of Newnan, our kids. So please take it in consideration.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for
Thank
bringing your
you.
concern
Thank
to
you,
us,
sir.
and we'll take it under consideration. Thank you. With that, we move into motion to enter into executive session. We have to discuss litigation, so. Mayor Pro Tem.
I move that we now enter a closed session as allowed by OCGA 50-14-4 and pursuant to advice by the city attorney for the purpose of discussing legal, and that we in open session adopt a resolution authorizing and directing the mayor or presiding officer to execute an affidavit in compliance with OCGA 50-14-4, and that this body ratify the actions of the council taken in closed session and confirm that the subject matters of the closed session were within exceptions permitted by the open meetings law.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Let's move into executive session. Thank you, everyone.